Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute and our friends at PlayPlay who are sponsoring today. We thank them so much for this. I'm Stephanie Stahl, General Manager here at CMI. So nice to welcome so many of you from around the world. We've got a really hot topic today. We're going to be talking about embracing AI for video and other content. Melissa Francois is here from PlayPlay. She's going to be our presenter today. Before I welcome her to the stage, take a quick look at this slide if you don't mind. A few key things. You can ask a question at any time during Melissa's presentation. Just look for that Q&A box on your console, pop your question in there, and she'll either answer it along the way or we'll save some time at the end for some Q&A. Also, if you look for that paperclip icon, and click on that, that will get you to a copy of the slides and some other resources to take along with you today. And another note, in about 24 hours or so, we will send you a link to the on-demand version of today's live session. It'll be waiting for you in your inbox if you'd like to watch again or share it with a colleague. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Melissa Francois. She is Content Comms and Social Lead at PlayPlay. And I should say good evening to you, Melissa, because I know you are in the UK and it is already evening your time, and we're so happy to have you here. I'll turn it over to you and I'll see you for a little Q&A in a bit.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, definitely evening for me. And I'm based in London, but you know, with my accent, you're probably going to understand really quick that I'm French, but hopefully this is not going to be an issue for all of us today. So I'm super excited to present this topic to all of you today, because it's definitely a super hot topic, something that we talk about all the time at PlayPlay, and something that I know that every content marketer is talking about at the moment, which is embracing AI for content and video marketing. You know, I know AI is definitely a topic that's scary for some, super positive for others. And so it's super exciting to talk about this today. The way this presentation is going to go is we're going to try and understand a little bit more like the context of AI at the moment, how it goes. Then taking you through a little bit of like how we can use AI already in the way we do content marketing. And then at the very end, we're going to go a little bit more into a workshop mode to kind of like use some actual actionable insights and make sure you can actually get started with AI in your content marketing. So before I get started, just introducing you to PlayPlay a little bit. So I'm the content and comms lead at PlayPlay. What we are, a leading video creation platform for communicators and marketers. It's very exciting for me to speak about PlayPlay because it's definitely a tool that I use personally as a content marketer. But it is basically the all-in-one video creation platform for you to like create all of your content marketing videos. So I very much encourage all of you to actually give it a look. But moving forward, what are we going to talk a little bit about today? I kind of talked to you about it earlier, but you know, understanding AI, kind of understanding how it's transforming the brand and content world. Then we're going to have a look at the very famous ChatGPT. I'm sure all of you are super aware of what it is, but kind of understanding how we can power our content marketing strategy with ChatGPT. And then we're actually going to do what I said, kind of the workshop-y part of this webinar to kind of see how you can actually use AI for your content creation and your video creation. So I guess we're ready to go. So kind of jumping into the marketing revolution that AI has been for everyone. Like, again, I'm sure for some people it's been terrifying. For some people it's been super exciting. Like, we're all having a lot of conversation about, is AI going to take my job? Is AI going to revolution everything? Like, how is my job going to change in the next 5 years because of it? The way we look at it at PlayPlay is kind of seeing AI as this incredible positive change when it comes to actually content creation. And we shouldn't be too worried about it. We should actually be excited. So these two examples are like kind of the two ways we look at it from a content creation standpoint and how positive it can be. The first one is like unlimited content possibilities. I don't know if all of you are aware with this video that you can see on the side. It's like a an AI trailer for a Star Wars movie in the style of Wes Anderson, and basically that was all created through AI. If you've not seen it yet, you should absolutely go on YouTube and check it out, because it shows you all the possibilities that AI can bring you. And then the second one is like looking at AI from a more technical point of view, and how search and the way we use SEO, the way we use Google, all these things are going to change because of AI, because of the way people are now looking for answers that are more tailored, that are more authentic. And so how do we approach AI to make sure that we respond to these two new challenges? So again, like going back to this big AI change, what we need to understand is marketing teams need to now shift and be a little bit more AI driven. This is a stat that I absolutely love. It's a Gartner stat. It's a little bit scary, but it's also quite exciting. By 2025, so in a year and a bit, 60% of CMOs will rely on AI to enhance marketing decisions. So we basically need to have this part of our strategies at the moment, because it's going to be expected of us within the next 2 years. And on top of this, you very often hear about OpenAI and ChatGPT, but like within OpenAI and within ChatGPT, so many plugins are now created. Every company on this planet is using AI at this point. And so getting familiar with all these different options that AI can bring to you is so exciting and brings so many possibilities for you to transform your marketing from, what you used to do to what the future of marketing should look like. The benefits, I'm sure you're not going to be mega surprised, but like the benefits are incredible. One that I particularly love is personalization. So the beauty of AI is like it's going to allow you to continue being strategic, continue looking for your angles, continue creating the content you were doing before, but maybe use AI as an assistant to tailor your content to your market even better than you were doing it before, be even more precise. Time saving, that's definitely the one that I'm sure everybody mentions at first. Automation is a big deal, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it later. And then customer engagement in the way that you can understand your audiences better and their needs, their trends, their desires, and then use this to infuse your marketing and your content marketing in the best of ways. So a lot of positives. We don't need to worry too much about AI. So that's the second area that we need to understand, is now that we've seen how AI is going to transform the way we do things, how do we actually introduce it within our processes as marketing teams? And there's 3 big areas when it comes to content marketing and video marketing that we can see it already impacting our processes and our strategies. The first one being topic ideation. I am sure every single one of you, if you're a content marketer, you face writer's block. You know what the blank page is. And, AI and ChatGPT specifically has been an incredible lifesaver in so many ways. And the way I look at it is really like this extra pair of hands when it comes to research. So ideation and research with AI is so strong in 3 different ways. Deep analysis. So, ChatGPT, OpenAI, it's just this incredible network of information, this immense data history, this content infinity. And what it allows you to do is once you have an idea, once you have a strategy, you can go in there and really look for the very specific piece of information or piece of data that's going to allow you to proof the content that you want to create. A second one is identifying patterns. It's not necessarily on the ChatGPT side of things. We can also think about the way companies have started to implement AI within their business. A very good example of this, I don't know if any of you are users of Shopify, for example, but they've just launched their new feature called Sidekick, which is pretty fantastic. Basically, the way it works is identifying patterns, exactly what you can see there. Let's say you're a company selling ski equipment, and you're trying to understand why your sales have not been so incredible in a specific area. You can simply ask Sidekick, and by machine learning, by AI, they will be able to probably come back to you and say, hey, you're usually really strong in British Columbia, but the weather patterns have been so and so during this month, which is usually your strongest month. There's no snow, you're not selling, this is what's happening. So basically, AI is helping you identifying the patterns within the research so you don't have to do it yourself. And then the last one, my favorite one, thinking outside the box. So we don't want to see AI as like this tool that's going to create all the ideas for us, because as humans, we're still very creative. We're still very strategic. However, what's amazing, and the way I personally use AI and ChatGPT all the time, is to kind of proofread my ideas, being like, was I on the right track? Is this something that you've seen as a trend? But also saying, hey, I've given you all these ideas that I have for my content strategy. If you were to go for another angle, what would it be? What can you offer me that's a little bit more, cheeky, that I might not have thought about? And it's usually really strong. So I can only advise you to give it a try for that. Another area is going to transform marketing, and I'm sure so many of you have already done that, is the content creation itself and unlocking really the creativity in ways it's not been done before. I like to think about this in like 3 different ways it's going to impact marketing teams. The first one being social media, like for content creation. And I don't know if we have social media managers in with us today or in the chat, but I've been a social media manager. I know how tricky it can be sometimes to generate copywriting for your posts. Times and times again, working on employee advocacy, making sure different people have different things to say so you don't flood your channels with like the same message 100 million times. Once again, AI is going to support you with this, because if you come with the ideas, it's able to actually recraft a lot of ideas for you. For content marketing, on my team specifically, we use it to, we create briefs for blog posts, and then we submit it to ChatGPT saying, hey, are we missing something? Are there some SEO keywords that you would add to this so that it would have an even bigger impact? And then for brand teams, I think this one is like really interesting. So you will go back to kind of the search and gaining insights aspects of AI, but it also helps you kind of like tailor the messaging depending on your audience, that you can definitely give ChatGPT, AI, OpenAI as you're making your requests. So definitely an amazing way to expand your content creation. And then finally, probably my favorite one, time saving through automation. I think, that's probably one of the ideas that we have as content marketers, that AI is going to take our job, but it's definitely not. It's just going to make our job easier. And it's going to take away the little thorns in our thighs that we've had, the data searching, the repurposing forever. Like it's so helpful. And here I like to see it kind of as a co-pilot who's looking at what I'm doing, looking at the content I'm creating, and is able to like give me feedback on that. So from an algorithm standpoint, potentially telling me, hey, you've been doing this for 6 months. It was working really well. LinkedIn has changed their algorithm now, so it's not working as well. So here is how you could refine it. It's an eye on the market, as we said earlier. It's just looking at trends constantly. You can actually do some social listening with it. You can refine your messaging if you need to. And then I'm not personally a growth manager or a paid campaign person, but I know for talking with my team all the time that from a paid campaign standpoint, it allows you to like real time make some changes that are going to have a really big effect on your content and the power of actually what you push out. Now that we've talked about this, we're gonna, look a little bit more at how we can use ChatGPT specifically for content creation. And you're gonna see it's very, very interesting and very, very strong. So I'm actually hoping that we get some questions in there, because it's kind of the crafty part of this webinar, and I love talking about it. What's ChatGPT? I'm not going to give you a very long introduction here. I'm sure you're all very comfortable with what it looked like, but just for a tiny reminder, it's a very powerful language model. These numbers are from January. We should definitely update them now because the numbers have exploded. it's a language, so it's being trained constantly by people asking more questions, and it becomes more and more precise, and it has more and more data to offer you as people keep using it. I'm here because I work for PlayPlay, and so I know a lot about video strategy. It's like our bread and butter. That's what we do all the time. And so for the next few slides, when we kind of try and talk about how to use it specifically for content creation and video content creation specifically, there are three ways we see it really impact video content strategy on our end. It's, ChatGPT allows you to boost your inspiration and unlocks your creativity. It saves you time, and we've talked about this with automation. And then a last one that's probably interesting if you're joining us from another part of the world, or if you're like me, you're a French speaker, but you work also in English, creating content that can be repurposed and reused for global audiences used to be such a complicated thing to do. And now with AI, we can actually move forward way faster when it comes to making things accessible for all of our global audiences. The way I want to approach this is when we speak to content marketing managers. I've been a content marketing manager for a long time. Video content is sometimes quite scary when we think about it. Like, I know I should do it because I know it's the most engaging content, but I also feel like it's going to require a lot of work. I don't really know where to start. I don't know if I'm going to be good at it. And that's where ChatGPT can actually be your best friend, and you're going to be able to do the content that works the best with a co-pilot to help you out on it. So here's our real life example. And to kind of, round up what I was saying just earlier, the reason why you're going to want to use ChatGPT for video, it's because video is the most engaging format. But again, and obviously we have some numbers to confirm it to you. But video is basically what you should be doing as a content marketer in 2023. We see the social media for videos exploding. We know it has a massive impact on SEO, for example, to make sure that your content is going to rank better. So it is the most powerful storytelling format, and it's where you should probably concentrate some of your efforts as content marketers. But now we're going to see how ChatGPT is going to make our life a little bit easier. Before we do anything, we need to know the golden rules of ChatGPT. There are 2 golden rules that we need to know to be able to get going. I would absolutely encourage you to screenshot if you want to do that, because these are the golden rules I follow to a T every single time I use ChatGPT. The first one being always give context. So as we said, ChatGPT is a language model. It works with all the information that you feed it. But as we said, it's also full of information. It's got all the things in the world. And if you don't give ChatGPT very specific context, it will struggle to give you an answer that is corresponding to what you're looking for. I'm sure if you've used ChatGPT before, you have asked some question and it comes back to you with something that sounds so vague, that doesn't respond to what you want. And you're like, oh, AI is dumb. It doesn't work for what I want to do. It's actually not helpful. It might be because you've not given ChatGPT enough context. And so if you follow these 3 buckets, it's actually going to change your life. So this is for video content specifically, but you can obviously adapt it depending on the type of content marketing that you're creating. First bucket, always give ChatGPT some understanding of your business, what you are, what's your sector, what product you're trying to sell. Are you B2C? Are you B2B? If you're creating a video that's more about your company itself, corporate communication, you might want to confirm your values. If it's more like a product presentation, you might want to explain what you're selling, how long you've been on the market, what are some of your competitors. It's very important to give as much context as possible to ChatGPT. The second bucket is your strategy. So that one is sometimes a little bit difficult to actually put into words, but once you've done it a few times, you can actually refine the way you ask the question. Always mention your target market. ChatGPT needs to know exactly who you're selling to. So it might be, who's your ICP? What are some of your personas? Like, who is this targeted to? The more precise you can be here, the better. So it can go down to like demographics, locations, job titles. Like, be as precise as possible if you want an answer that's going to be super precise. Mention your objectives. Why are you creating this video? Is it a video for employer branding? Are you trying to hire people? Is it a video to thank your employees for doing an incredible job? Is it a video to launch your new products that everybody should know about? Make sure that the objective is really clear so that ChatGPT is going to give you an answer that corresponds to that. Your mission and your goal, if you want to go as high level as what you're trying to solve for as a company. And then in the case of you creating video content, you also want to be quite precise in like the video format that you're looking for. And in that case, you're going to mention a type of video. Is this an interview with my CEO? Is this more of a, news kind of New York Times thing when they're just like video images passing through and a text popping up? Like, you're going to want to be as precise as possible here too. And then something you should never forget is the tone of voice. And you can actually have quite some fun with the tone of voice. Sometimes we just go through like crazy brainstorming sessions with my team where we're like, oh, let's try and, make it more fun, or like add a joke in there. Like, you can actually be as precise as you want also on the tone of voice. And it's definitely going to make a difference. So golden rule number 1, always give context. Super important. Oh, and my last tip on that, once you have a bulletproof context, prep, prompt, save it somewhere, because I have definitely done it a couple of times where I wrote the best prompt in the world and then I completely forgot to save it. And then I wiped my entire ChatGPT history and I just couldn't find it anymore. And it was the most frustrating thing in the world. So if you find a good recipe, definitely save it. Rule number 2, and that kind of, follows what we were saying earlier with the context, but always be precise. I feel like we always tell little kids like to use their words. When you speak to ChatGPT, you should use your verbs. That's kind of the way I see it. And you need to make sure that you are going to ask and request of ChatGPT to do the thing you want him to do. I used to make the massive mistake of always writing, give me this, give me that. And you will have answers. ChatGPT will come back to you with like good content, but it will never be as strong as if you come back to ChatGPT and you say, actually, provide more details, give me the full analysis of this, help me brainstorm, write me a list of 10 ideas for this and that. It is so much more powerful in the content you're actually going to get back, that you should make sure that you do that. Another little tip that I have there is sometimes you might ask for a list of things and an action you should take for each of these things. And it's going to come back as this giant piece of text that might sometimes be a little bit hard to understand. You can always follow up with ChatGPT and tell him, okay, this is overwhelming. Like, can you put this in a tab format so I understand it better? And ChatGPT will actually do that for you. And you just have to actually copy and paste that. And you have a beautifully set up piece of strategic content that you can use to move forward. So my 2 golden rules, context and precision. This is how you're going to do a fantastic job using ChatGPT. Now, if we put it in practice, what does it look like? So again, here we're taking the examples of using ChatGPT to create some video content. So what are some ways we can actually use it for? Because it's not just to like give me ideas. Like, I want to do so many things with ChatGPT and I can do this. And the reason why I know it is because we've done it a million times at PlayPlay, and I promise you it works. So the first thing we can ask ChatGPT is about your video strategy and planning. You've never done video content marketing? It's fine. You can just get some ideas, get some like getting started with ChatGPT, asking for planning, like what can AI give you as an ideation process so you can like move forward with at least imagining what your strategy is going to look like. A second point is definitely content video ideas. You want to talk about, you want to use video for employer branding. Brilliant. How do I move forward with that? Like, what are the next what are some ideas of video that I can actually create for that. Now that you know the 3 videos that you want to create, you might want some scripts and some storyboards to actually help you put them into more form than actually just like thinking about creating them. And the video scripts are so much better with the help of ChatGPT. Surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, you can also use them for promotion. ChatGPT will actually help you to be like, here are like 10 ways you could distribute this that you might not have thought about. Because again, if we've given context to ChatGPT, if we've mentioned where we've used it, then it's going to allow the tool to come back to you and say, you've given me all these options. Here is how you could also do it further. And then the very last one is content repurposing. And this one is so powerful. I am sure in the chat, we have a lot of people who battle with the idea of content repurposing. We all know it is super important. We all know that one piece of content should make 10 pieces of content. But content repurposing takes time, it takes strategy, and sometimes we don't really know how to put it into action. And ChatGPT is actually super helpful for that. If I take an example specific to video content creation, we have, for example, used a video script that we had created before on this beautiful wheel. And we've told ChatGPT, brilliant, you've written me this script. Now make an SEO-friendly blog post that would kind of correspond to this, so we can also repurpose this video idea into a blog post that we will finally be able to embed our video into when we're done. So you can really use it as a co-pilot on your content creation, and it's really exciting once you've actually kind of implemented it in your processes. So let's get going. Let's see how it goes. So if we take our little wheel again, the first thing that we wanted to know about was video strategy, video planning. I've never done video before. I want to get started. And what I need to know is understanding my audience to create the right video content for it. What we're going to see next is an actual prompt that's going to keep in mind the 2 golden rules that we've mentioned before, and that we're also going to be able to use to answer this very specific question. So I'm going to leave you some time to kind of read this, but I'm going to read it through as well. So I work in a B2C catering company. I've just given my sector, and I've just given my, the fact that I'm B2C. I want to produce a social media video for the release of a new vegan brand. I've just given you like what I'm trying to do, the objective of my video, but I've also given context on what my brand is about. It must reflect my values: ethical cooking, quality, creativity, and innovation. I have mentioned all my values in there. I know that it has to be part of my video, either from a storytelling standpoint or really as words that need to show on the text. And then here, it's more about understanding what key messages and arguments I want to be part of my video, because I know that my audience might have some reserves. So what reluctance can we expect to see from our target audience about this change? How can I reassure them with this video? And basically what ChatGPT is going to give you back from this is, hey, I know what you want to do. You should probably mention this and this and that, and this should be part of the video that you're going to be creating. So with this, you're kind of ready to move forward. Another example, going down to video ideas. So now we've started planning. Now we want actionable, actual videos that we should start creating and basically captivate the audience with it. Example of prompt, once again. I work in the tech sector. We've again mentioned who we work for, and I would like to announce our gender equality index score via video. I don't know if some of you folks work with some DEI teams, or you work with internal comms teams, and you want to actually be sharing some of these insights, but sometimes it's actually quite hard to do. ChatGPT can help you with that. And basically, if you tell him, we'd like to share this on social media, you're giving context to attract future candidates, that's your goal, as well as sharing it internally. Please provide me with 10 unique video content ideas that will help me showcase this achievement. Like, you will not always like 100% of the answers that ChatGPT will give back to you. However, it's actually really fantastic because you're probably gonna like 2 of these, and this is 2 pieces of content you can get started in straight away. now onto my favorite thing, the scripting. So you have your ideas, but you don't really know exactly what the content should be just yet. You can actually, use ChatGPT as your ghostwriter, work with it, playwright, rewrite, as much as you want, brainstorm. I really like this example. It gives you a really good idea of like how to use it. So I'd like to produce a marketing video to promote our new range of deodorant with Give and Go to our B2C customers and prospects. Again, we've given sector. Our products are 100% vegan, effective all day long, and are affordable. And now this is where you go a little bit more precise into the type of video you want to create. The video should feature 2 characters. Could you write a script that highlights the product benefit mentioned? And it should be funny and include our slogan. So here you've given the tone of voice. I would definitely advise you to play around with the word you use for tone of voice, because ChatGPT might not have the same sense of humor as you. So something that ChatGPT might find funny might not find funny at all. Or you might be, a more corporate high-level company that is not able to be as cheeky in the way you speak to your customer and your audiences. So you're going to want to make sure you refine that. And sometimes it's just going to be, put a little joke in there. Sometimes it's just going to be like, be completely crazy in the way you speak about this topic, try and, be immensely creative, whatever. But that's the fun part about playing with ChatGPT for your content creation, is that you can just refine and play and change things until you find like the perfect thing for you. Now moving on to more of the promotional aspect of it. So you've created your video, it's ready to go, it's beautiful, you want to share it. How do you make sure it is distributed to the best of its abilities? You can ask ChatGPT to help you out with some SEO-friendly titles, with some social copy, like we mentioned before, to make sure you're going to promote it to the best of ways. Is there a blog that you might want it to be part of? What are some of the meta descriptions that you might want to add to it? Like, you can be as precise and go as deep as you want when it comes to like promotion of your content. Here, we're talking about the US state government. We are the communication and PR department, and the project details. I created this video interview, stakeholders involved in the city pedestrianization. Oh, that's a hard word to say. Pedestrianization project. And basically what you're asking now, you're not asking them to create video content. You're just asking for perfect distribution. Give me 10 SEO friendly title ideas for my video and be concise. Again, precision to the very top of it. And you're going to get like really fantastic content from that. And then finally, repurposing, our favorite topic. So there are so many ways you can actually use AI for repurposing. You could repurpose the video subtitles to create a blog post. You could, reshape your scripts into a blog content. You could use your blog to create a video series. Like, repurposing kind of goes every way. And the possibilities are quite limitless, really. And I think what's super exciting is you can, test and learn. Like, that's the bread and butter of content marketing, is we just test and we see how it goes. But this is definitely something that you can do. If we look at our prompt, and this is the final one, again, giving the context, explaining the project, you can insert your script and say, here, there was the script. Tell me what I should cut. I'd like to make this a TikTok video instead. What do I cut from this to make sure that it will fit the codes and the trends of TikTok and make sure that it will resonate with the audience there? So ChatGPT can actually do that, like take content that already exists and explain to you how to tailor it to make sure that it's going to work for what you're trying to do and where you're trying to repurpose your content. Right, that was kind of the workshop part of this. And I know I have hammered those golden rules to you, but I think it's important to keep them in mind once again. So the do's when you use ChatGPT: always be the most specific possible when it comes to your requests. Ask follow-up questions. Like, you're not crazy if you have a back and forth conversation with ChatGPT. You're completely normal. You're just trying to refine your content, and it's going to be great. And then this one is super important, and I think it's something that we as content marketing managers are hopefully used to do, but it's always important to do it even though we're using AI. is verify the credibility of the sources and the information that we see from there. So don't trust everything blindly. I think personally, when I get a piece of data or insights or stat that comes from ChatGPT, I tend to like take it and then try and find it like from the actual source. No matter what, when I ask ChatGPT for, you know, data insights, I will always ask within my prompt, give me the source for it, just to make sure I can then go gather my information from like externally from ChatGPT. And then the don'ts. Please do not disclose confidential company or personal data. I'm sure your legal teams have all talked to you about this already, but you know, try and always mention sector, industry, your goals, what you're trying to do, but don't go at ChatGPT by saying, this is my company, this is our revenue, this is kind of where we are from a sales standpoint. Like, just try and keep this information to yourself. You don't want to give too much information. You can get very incredible results without being too specific when it comes to personal data. Make sure to, we mentioned it just earlier, but make sure to verify every source and the information that you see in there. And then this one is actually tricky. So you will need to like play with ChatGPT over and over again, refine it, but don't just copy and paste the content that you see in there. It might sometimes be a bit tempting to do that because we, you know, gain so much time by using ChatGPT. But what you're going to want to make sure of, once again, the robots are not taking over. You're still a very smart content marketing manager, and you want to make sure that your specific style, your creativity is infused in all of the content that are created. So again, take it as a co-pilot, take it as a digital pair of hands, but don't take everything it says for absolute truth. But can ChatGPT actually create the videos themselves? Well, it can't at the moment. However, at PlayPlay, we've definitely straight away, when we saw the power of AI, we were like, okay, this is definitely a topic that we're super passionate about. So we worked on it super, super hard all of H1, so, you know, all of spring. And we've now created basically this AI video assistant, which allows you to like enter these prompts that you would probably put in ChatGPT by saying, I want to tease my upcoming webinar for internal purposes and making sure that everybody's going to know about it. Create a video for me, and in one click your video basically gets created for you. And within the PlayPlay tool, you're then able to like make any edits that you might want to do, change the branding, making sure you're putting like the images that you want, maybe from the previous seminars that you guys have. But I can only encourage you guys to go try and test it. It's available on our website, and we've been having so much fun with this, and the gain of time that we've had from it is just fantastic. So I would absolutely welcome you to go try it. And finally, because we're feeling very sharing today, we've mentioned so many prompts and so many posts, but sometimes it's nice to get a little bit of a head start and someone to like hold your hand to get started. So what we've done is we've created 30 ChatGPT prompts that you can already use for your company today. If you just scan that QR code, you're going to be able to actually go in there for every single section of, you know, the video creation wheel I mentioned earlier. You're going to get some prompts for scripting. You're going to get some prompts for video ideas. And we've created them in a way that all you have to do is literally copy and paste and then change the information so that you're going to get the best results. Hopefully that works for you and it's helpful. If it is, I would love to hear from it and hear from like the great videos that you guys create from it, because we've had so much fun actually creating these prompts that it's always nice to hear if it's helpful. So yeah, I encourage you to scan this QR code if you've not done it yet. And I think that's it for me. So I don't know, Stephanie, if there are any questions that I can answer. But yeah.
We have a lot of questions coming in. Thank you. That was a fantastic presentation. Really appreciate that. So I'll try to summarize some of these too. There are quite a few about ChatGPT versus some other tools, Copy AI, writer.com, things like that. Do you see pros, cons, or benefits over one or the other? Or what's your opinion on that?
So I've tried many of these tools. I've tried Jasper, I've tried Copy.ai. I think all of them are actually doing a fantastic job. Like we've personally in the team used ChatGPT a lot because we know the innovation, I guess, comes from ChatGPT usually, and then it gets integrated into all these different these different tools. However, I think if you have been using one of these tools as part of your strategy, all of them are pretty strong. I have a soft spot for Jasper because I think the community around Jasper is fantastic, and it's a lot of content marketing managers kind of helping each other through that. But yeah, I would definitely say, the prompts that you're using in ChatGPT and that we've talked about here today, you could probably try them out into Copy.ai or Jasper and see if it works for you. But AI is changing so fast, and it's such an incredibly creative world that's open to us that I think no matter what, you're going to get to test new tools all the time, and it's all about trying out new ideas and new tools, I guess.
Excellent. There were a number of questions that came in about giving some best practices or advice on how to create these prompts and such, which I think you answered really well in your presentation. But maybe you could also tell us, maybe you're being precise and maybe you're using the right context and maybe you're targeting your audience and the competitive advantages and all of that stuff. But what are some of the mistakes people make? Like what mistakes should people avoid when they are prompting or trying to generate some content?
I love this question because I've made so many mistakes using ChatGPT and trying out things. So I love this. I've mentioned, being precise. I've mentioned giving context. I think some of the mistakes are going to come from that already, because even if you mention that you need to hammer it and making sure you're the most precise possible, you can always be more precise. So like, I would definitely tell people like retry, refine, don't get desperate straight away. Like just try and like give more and more and more context to ChatGPT. That's quite important. The other thing that I would say is like, don't take everything you see in there as like source of truth. I kind of mentioned that already, but it's, for the longest time, ChatGPT hadn't been updated for data that was younger, I guess, than 2021. So some of the, newer trends and newer data wasn't necessarily added into the fold, which means that some of the trends and the things that you might be looking for would not be reflected within ChatGPT. And actually, OpenAI would give you this little error message saying, hey, actually, I don't know about data from 2023 because I stopped learning in 2021. And this is something that they're actually working on. So it's going to be more and more updated. But what I would say is like using ChatGPT for, ideation, scripts, like things that are not necessarily trend relevant, as in like what happened last week and like how can I use that, is probably one of the mistakes I would avoid. Is once it comes to like understanding, I don't know, a geopolitic change, something that happened so recently, like continue feeding your research through sources that are more, I guess, up to date. And then my very last piece of advice, which is like not necessarily a mistake to avoid, but just the same way you used to do content marketing before, like you wouldn't take one piece of content or one source and say, this is the truth now, this is what I'm doing because I've been told by one piece of content that this was the way to go. Continue to look for the other sources, continue to make sure that you cross-reference your content, continue making sure that you see different angles in the way things are explained. So I would say, make ChatGPT your autopilot, but don't make it the pilot of everything, because you need to make sure that you bring more ideas and angles to the fold, I guess.
And I think that's the same advice, that we would give to, like the writer-editor, human-editor relationship, yes. Right? I mean, you're still going to be checking the content. You're going to be checking the sources. You're going to be checking the data, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think that's great. That's great. There were a lot of questions in here, too, about, do you have any concerns about the fact that ChatGPT's knowledge doesn't extend past 21? Like, is that a problem? So thank you for addressing that. So, okay, let's see here. John says, I write and create lots of content that must rely on hard data and industry trends in order to be credible to key audiences. What's the best way to source the data, use it properly, and emphasize stats and info? And also, this is a long question, sorry, but also footnotes or maybe reference links. Do you think that's, something that ChatGPT can help with as well?
That's a really fantastic question. So I think the source aspects of the stats, the data. I've used ChatGPT extensively for that because I think it's so powerful to like create presentations, making sure you have like the hard data to like back the things that you think. As I mentioned, like I always ask ChatGPT for like the sourcing of all the things it says and like source, dates of publication, and like all of this. ChatGPT struggles to give you like actual link to things. So what I do is I try to even ask sometimes for like, give me a little abstract of that so that then I can, cheekily just like copy and paste and try and find it on the internet to kind of like back up all the things that I need to add to my content. It is helpful. It will allow you to find insights and stats that you might not have struggled to find by going from like net linking to net linking and like finding a link into a link. I know all of us are super aware of like the struggle of that, but I think finding these angles, finding these stats is something ChatGPT can do. But as we just mentioned before, like it's the reality of a content marketing manager is you're still gonna look for like the references, this informations, and making sure your content is rock solid. This is not yet gonna change with ChatGPT for sure.
Okay, let's see, a few questions in here too about just advice on convincing either a team or convincing your boss that using a tool like this is okay, trying to weigh the risk versus the reward and that sort of thing. What is your advice if any of these marketers here today are trying to convince someone in the organization that we should do this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Again, like I think I'm quite lucky personally that like the people in my company and my team were kind of like embracing AI and embracing a tool like ChatGPT when it came out. But I would be lying if I said that we have not had extensive emails and messages from our legal teams being like, do not share things that you should not be sharing, all of this. So I think companies and organizations are going to mature more and more when it comes to these type of tools. Like there's going to be a moment where it's not going to be possible anymore to not use these things because you're going to lag behind if you actually don't do that. I saw a quote the other day that I thought was really kind of embracing this whole idea, which was like, AI is not going to steal your job, but someone who knows how to use AI probably will. And I think that's kind of like the way we can think about this is becoming a reality for all of us. And we need to implement these things within our organizations if we want to make sure that, we keep up to date. When it comes to actually convincing, I think I would actually try and show the power of what it can do by saying, hey, we've been struggling with whatever SEO, and we need to create 20 more blogs on the blog to make sure that we keep up with that. And one way to do this is going to be for the content marketing team to just like be in a room for 5 days at an offsite and trying to like brainstorm ideas. And another way to do this is probably going to be to go on ChatGPT, spend an entire day with your marketing team, come up with 50 ideas, rank them, prioritize them, basically show the value of what it can bring, and it will allow to do the convincing for you. I think if you just come to your organization and you say, we should start using ChatGPT, they're going to be like, no, why? Why should we do this? But if you come to them and you say, hey, if we start using ChatGPT, if we implement this automation, we will, reduce our cost by X, or we will make the time from origination to production divided by 3. Like these are the hard numbers that actually make an organization tilt and think, maybe we should give it a try, So actually show the power of it instead of just saying, oh, we should do it. I think it's the strongest way to do it. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, so Eric wants to know, first of all, acknowledging that you've been super specific about how to build the prompts and and additional context and that sort of thing. What are best practices for training ChatGPT in this way? How can we make it smarter? How can we train it better?
I actually love this question. I think I've never really thought about it before, and now I kind of want to like go into a full nerdy mode and like see how I can train ChatGPT. I think one of the cool things, and I kind of follow what OpenAI announces all the time because this is the type of topics that I'm super passionate about. And I know that more and more they want to, within the tool, like within ChatGPT, allow you to like train it. So it's part of like the features that they're building. They're trying to like help you build a profile in a way. So, you know, if you're always saying our audience is B2C, we sell, I don't know, pumpkins, and, you know, like basically telling ChatGPT, like, keep that in mind next time, so I don't have to tell you every single time I create a prompt. And I think they are creating these features within ChatGPT and OpenAI to like, the more we you know move into 2024, 2025, I think this will be actually part of the tool. But in the meantime, I guess it's all about perfecting your prompts on your end. And you know, even if it becomes this like giant, if you saw my prompts, I'm borderline embarrassed by them because they become these like giant things where I'm trying to give the tiniest little detail to make sure that the answers are going to be like really perfect. But yeah, on the training side of things, I think the team over there is actually like working super hard on that. And I don't work for OpenAI, but I've read a lot about it. But yeah, I think I want to look into it now because it was a very interesting question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Okay. All right, so there are a few questions in here too about other tools you might recommend. There's one here, like what's the best AI image generating sources to use in your video marketing, but any other tools that you'd like to recommend before we wrap up?
I think it really depends on what you're trying to do. You know, the ChatGPT one is just, it's such a good, like an easy access to things that it's just cool. I love design, so I sometimes have a lot of fun on, you know, Midjourney, DALL-E. If you've not yet, you know, played with video AI or AI creation, it's actually really, really fun to give it a try. It's a little bit scary at first because you can really like make anything you want come to life. But other than that, like I think every tool on the market at this point, like every SaaS tool is now going to integrate some piece of AI within it. So you will get to play with AI at all time, no matter what. So, you know, for content creation, you're always going to get the tool you use for content creation is going to include AI. If it doesn't include AI, you should probably change the tool you use because it is such a great help for so many of the things that you can do that it should be part of what a tool offers to you, I think, in 2023.
Excellent. Somebody's asking if you could give an example of one of your long prompts, but we probably, I doubt you have that at your fingertips, but maybe you can share that after. We'll send you this.
Yeah. Follow me on LinkedIn, and I will share it to you through DM, so I don't have to be embarrassed in front of everyone. But yes, I will happily do that.
That's good. Candace wants to know about some core metrics. Obviously, marketers are always concerned, sometimes obsessed, you know, with metrics, right? I mean, we need to prove our ROI. We need to prove things. And you mentioned things before about productivity and potentially some cost savings too, right? But what are the core metrics to show the effectiveness?
I think it's three things. You gotta mention, and I think like productivity, depending on like the type of content that you create, you know, being able to say, hey, we can move from like 5 blogs to 15 blogs because we've been able to create the briefs for that. And so what was taking 3 weeks now takes 1, and we're able to show you this. And what it does is like all this free time that you now have, you can spend on something different. So, you know, I guess maybe it's just doing a little audit of like your current production and content creation and what you're able to do at the moment. And then, you know, if you are in an organization that is not so sure about AI just yet, maybe you just go at it and you call it a test. This is my favorite thing to do. I just go to people and I say, let's just do a test, because that way you're not hard selling it to people. You're just able to see what different it can make. And then you can, you know, come back after that and say, hey, you know how we've been struggling to like create these 5 blogs. Well, we have 20 ideas now, and all we have to do is like send it to our freelance team or our content team, and like we can actually move forward with this. I would definitely, so yeah, look at like time saving, look at productivity. When it comes to automation, I haven't touched on this too much, and you know, so much of it, at least at our organization, lies within marketing operations and not necessarily content operations. But like we've been able to do so much in terms of integrating great data from like the content that's being read on our website or our blogs, and like feeding all of this within reports for the teams to like see how the little changes that we do affect our audience, affect our conversion, affect all these different things. You know, I was talking a little bit earlier about how AI is like this trend-setting listening companion. Like if we get out of the, you know, the very specific mold of ChatGPT, AI can just in general can give you so many opportunities to understand your audience and the power of your content better. So I would say do some tests, like call it a test, so people are cool with you playing with it. Do an audit before so you can see the before and after, and then you'll have some hard data to say, hey, it actually makes a difference. And then the last thing would be, you know, see beyond just the content creation, like try and look for how is this affecting my metrics, my data, my traffic, my conversion, and see how this actually impacts, like, you know, pure ROI, like how is this impacting revenue at the end of the day, and then hopefully it will be a big boost.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that is a great note to end on. Folks, if we didn't get to your question, I think we got almost everything answered. But if not, we're going to share it with Melissa so that she can follow up after and share an answer with you. This has been so helpful. Thank you for making this so practical to the audience. I mean, it's really fantastic. Please join us over at the contentmarketinginstitute.com for more on AI tools and content creation and video creation. We've been covering the topic quite a bit on our own blog and in our Chief Content Officer magazine. And of course, we'll be talking about it a lot at Content Marketing World. Our friends at PlayPlay will also be at Content Marketing World. So please join us there if you can. It's less than 2 weeks away in Washington, D.C. We'd love to see you all there. It's going to be a really great show, a lot of great speakers, a lot of fun networking. Join us if you can. If you have questions, let me know. Melissa, thank you so much. We appreciate this. And this recording will be available tomorrow on demand. So if you missed something or you want to go back and watch and take more notes or whatever, it'll be waiting for you in your inbox. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great evening, Melissa. Thank you.
Thank you.